Several years ago, there was a movie called Of Gods and Men, Des Hommes et de Dieu. It was a French film that dealt with a true story of 9 French Trappist monks who were working with the poor in a small hill town in Algeria back in the 1990s during the Algerian Civil War. The movie centers on the decision that the monks had to make, whether they should stay in the monastery or leave back to France. You see, the reason why they were intimidated was because there were Islamic fundamentalists destroying the country and killing foreigners. In the film, we see the monks praying, chanting, toiling in the fields, teaching and giving medical aid, affectionately interacting with the locals, all while debating whether they should get out or stay. The country's military officials strongly urge them to flee. And some of the brothers feel that they should go, but others don't. The abbot refuses to let go of his mission. He feels that the good shepherd doesn't abandon his flock when the wolves come. He doesn't even accept to have armed military guards at night. During a Christmas Eve, a group of rebels broke into the monastery to intimidate them. The rebel leader made various demands and told the abbot, "You have no choice." The abbot's response was, "Oh, but we do." In fact, by that time, the abbot, along with the rest of the monks, had decided that they would stay in Algeria, even though they knew they could be assassinated. And sure enough, sometime later, 7 of the monks were kidnapped and assassinated. The monks were right. They had a choice, and they chose the way of the cross, knowing in faith that it would lead to the resurrection. As we contemplate today's reading from the Passion, we may wonder, why did it have to happen this way? Didn't Jesus have a choice? He could have chosen to stay in Galilee. He was loved by the crowds there. He surely had a choice. It didn't all have to happen this way. He could have chosen to redeem the world in many different ways. After all, he was God. The pain of one hangnail on one of his fingers could have been enough to redeem the world. He could have chosen to enter Jerusalem in a different way. He could have gotten lost in the crowd. He could have chosen to go into Jerusalem and to be inconspicuous. After all, the city had hundreds of thousands of visitors at that time of the year. He could have entered the city at night when nobody was watching. But Jesus made a different choice. This choice was filled with danger. He knew the risks. He knew the danger. He himself had said that Jerusalem killed its prophets, and he chose to come into Jerusalem as conspicuously as possible, riding on a donkey, calling attention to himself. He knew that that would have terrible consequences for his life just a few days later. Why didn't he stay in Galilee? Why didn't he come to Jerusalem in a different way? Why didn't he redeem the world differently? You see, he did it because he loved us, and he continues to love us. He did it because he wanted to show us the consequences of sin. He did it because he was obedient. He only cared about doing the Father's will. He did it to show us that death is not the worst thing that can happen to a human being. He did it because he trusted his Father, and he knew that he had to fulfill his mission. He made a choice. He did it out of love. And by clinging to the Father's love, the Father did not disappoint him. You and I have a choice to make today. What will you choose? Will you choose Jesus, knowing that there are consequences for following him? Or will you choose the easy way, the way of the world? I pray that today all of us may choose the way of Jesus, the way of the cross, knowing full well that it leads to the resurrection. Amen.